What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. So Trump finally broke his silence after being missing for about a week's time. And he decided to address the nation about various issues. And I want to talk about what he talked about. As you enter the broadcast, make sure you double tap the screen to get the likes up. Now, there's a lot going on in the United States right now that seem to be very strange. Very strange things are happening. Now, we know when Trump vanished and had his whole schedule clear for about a week's time, perhaps the man needed a break or whatever the case is. But there were some interesting scenarios that were taking place in his absence. You know, just as of last night, you know what I'm saying? Let me see here. All right, I see y'all coming in. Just of last night, Labor Day, he announced, or at least the White House announced, that Chicago was going to be next to have the National Guards in the streets. And ladies and gentlemen, it's something seriously wrong with military in the streets. And it's been taken a step further with Chicago. Yep. It's been taken a step further because there's an army base takeover that's happening in Chicago. And they're taking over the naval station, Great Lakes. And they're going to be pretty much setting up sanctuary policies. You know, their expansion duties are very, very daunting. And then when Trump addressed the nation today, he had some things to say that are rather bewildering, right? About what we know to be young black men. We know that he's talking about young black men in this particular portion. Now, for the mass majority, he was talking about SpaceX, which is, I find strange, because we know that Trump has ties with all kind of, time travel, and he's connected with different, just all kind of conspiracies. At least they called them conspiracies. But we know that Trump is his family. Baron Trump, we already know, what's going on with that. They were connected with La Tesla, and him going missing. You already know what my theory is because y'all watched it. Y'all watch my theory. My theory is that he was on some top secret mission regarding time travel. And the first thing he says when he comes back, he's talking about SpaceX and what needs to happen with SpaceX. And, they set up a Donald Trump SpaceX excavation over there in Alabama. It's named after Trump. And yeah, that's just the irony of that. That's the first thing that he had to say. So if you go back and watch my stream, I talked about time travel. I talked about his connection to those books written in the 1800s about Trump, perhaps his family being involved in time travel. And Trump's uncle was literally connected with La Tesla. He was the physicist that had all of the records. So, contrary to popular belief, they don't tell you everything. They don't tell you everything. Now, he comes back talking about SpaceX, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on what's going on, what happened in DC, and what's about to happen in Chicago, right? So let's get to it.
District of Columbia, right here where we are, it's now a safe zone. We have no crime. We have it's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad.
And this is how the Trump administration plans on ushering martial law. You know, the Bible says when they say safety, know that sudden destruction cometh. You know, instead of trusting in the Most High, people are trusting in Uncle Sam, big government, big brother, as they call him, to bring you safety. And the target has been the Black community. All right. So this is what's happening right now. And now, since people see that business is booming, you know, although it's because, you know, you have National Guards out there making people feel threatened to even come outside. The real problem is they didn't want Black folks downtown, right? They didn't want our people around. They're tired of seeing us. The only crime that was committed is us being God's people. The only crime that was being committed is us being born into this wicked society, right? That's the only crime that was actually done, because according to statistics, crime rates have been down in DC. 30-year low. 30-year low. Right?
Really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon.
They took 1,600 people out. Who took them out and where did they go? Now, that type of rhetoric right there, they took 1,600 people out where? Ladies and gentlemen, the military doesn't have the power to detain anybody. They're not allowing local law enforcement to get involved. Who did they take out and where did they take them? The nation should be asking that question. He said that they took out 1,600 criminals, hardcore criminals, as he said. But why is it we can't figure out who arrested them? What prisons are they in? Who are these people? Are they locked up? Are they in Alligator Alcatraz? Because DC Federal Penitentiary is pretty full, to say the least. What did they do to these people? Where are they? See, ladies and gentlemen, these are the things we must consider. This looks like Rex 84 on steroids. This looks like the King Alfred plan on steroids. What's happening to these people?
And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week. You know, it was like years, many years, where every single week somebody was killed for many, many, many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had, last week it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I say, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem, and we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for them and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, they were black.
Mm. Now, there's a reason why he's bringing up the fact that they were African American or black. There's a reason why he's bringing that up. See, what he's doing right now is trying to make our own people complicit with being engaged. That's what he's doing. And that shows you who was the target. It was black people. He's showing you who was the target. Right?
And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send in. These were people from Chicago.
So he's saying, look, please, they're our own people. In a recent broadcast, he said it was our women. He said, please, please send the National Guard. Come send the feds. Come get these black men off the streets. Come get the black men off the streets. Now, we know that Trump is pandering. We know that it's divide and conquer when it comes to our people. We know that Trump's goal is to make us complacent with being engaged. Let's continue.
Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway.
They're going to do it anyway, regardless of what the crime rate is, regardless of what the governor says, regardless of what data is provided. And, y'all got to keep in mind, this guy right here is the same one who just cut $80 billion. In the big, beautiful bill, he cut $80 million in crime prevention. Now, only to militarize the government, militarize ICE against the people. Now, in case y'all wondering why I watch, and somebody says I get my information from CNN. I mean, you must be new to the platform. I watch all news stations. But of course, Fox News keeps hitting me with copyrights. I wonder why. So I got to be careful with Fox News for whatever reason. They like to hit a brother with copyrights, false copyrights at that. How is it you can't react to the news on Fox? Because they don't like my commentary. But nonetheless, what Trump is doing is just really repulsive. Now, he's targeting the people who built the country. Now, I want you to keep that in mind. We're going to pivot back to that.
Have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But, we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. We had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke, but wasn't strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting there had to be 300 people. And
so basically he's speaking in regards to DEI cuts. See, if you're not part of the MAGA cult, then you're not going to be in any position in the federal government. And that's just what it boils down to. He's looking for people who are his cult followers. And that's just what it is. And you got to look at these soldiers that are out there. They got face masks. A lot of them don't have badge numbers. What's up with that? Who are these people? Why can't we see their identity? Because whatever they up to is nefarious. And I personally believe that they're not even United States citizens. I don't believe they are. I believe it's Russian collusion, if you ask me. Because he's not telling you exactly where these soldiers came from. He's saying, look, they ain't going to be basically, they're not going to be DEI soldiers. And he's trying to make it seem like all the DEI soldiers are weak, but really he just don't want blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and what you would call minority groups. Now, it's interesting because there's a lot of people in here, who I see Dirty MAGA has showed up. Y'all, MAGA's here. And they believe I'm a liberal. I'll let them believe what they want to believe. Just know that what Trump is doing is going to cost you your freedom one day. And at the rate we going, we will be under a totalitarian government, a dictatorship. And you should be able to see it clear as day when you see military going to cities. When you see military being used on its own citizens. You should really pay attention to that. I know Trump is your Lord and Savior, and you happy he's alive right now because he had them damn bloated ass ankles. Trump was walking around with them damn cankles and them bruises all on his hands. They went and got them blood thinners and juiced him up again. And now he's back on his feet. Y'all want to get froggy. But you can hit the link. You can click that chat. But anyway, nonetheless, let's go.
They were all very impressive looking. And when the bad guys see them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. We took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They're going
to be criminals.
They were born to be criminals.
Wait, they were born to be criminals. So, brothers and sisters, melanated people, your children were born to be criminals in the eyes of Donald Trump. Your young black babies were born to be criminals in his eyes. Now, I got a question. Are those extreme school shooters, were they born to be criminals? What about the young man that just shot up a school, a Roman Catholic school? What about the surge of school shootings coming from, these sadists? Were they born to be criminals? Now, mind you, let's put this in context. He's speaking in regards of young black boys, young teenagers, and we know this why? Because his argument was against the what? The no cash bail. Because youth offenders were able to walk out and actually have a second chance at life. And I'm from Washington, D.C., and I was a youth offender who got a second chance at life. So when you see me speak about this, I'm speaking on behalf of my people, understanding that when you young in D.C., it can be rough and you may get in some trouble. It's wild and rambunctious out there in those streets. And I want to see these young men get a second chance at life. Trump says they're born to be criminals, and he wants to be able to give these young men fed time. And the truth of the matter is, they engaged or invaded DC under false pretenses in the first place. They told y'all on the news that some guy named Big Balls got beat up by some black teenagers trying to stop a carjacking. Y'all believed it. They told y'all that some Doge employee just happened to be there. This Doge employee happened to be there, named Big Balls. And that's when this all started. Crime was down in DC. So they invaded DC under false pretenses in the first place. That story was fake. That's what you call propaganda. Manufactured crisis. Then they told you a couple days later that there was a bunch of DC teenagers that was taking over the streets. Absolutely no truth to it. Why? Because he wanted to aim for the youth, these young black men. He wanted to be able to get them fed time for minor offenses. He's talking about their hardcore criminals. There ain't too many hardcore criminals that are 16 and 17 years old. No, he's talking about ending their futures. That's what he's talking about doing. And like I said, Dirty Mac, I see y'all in the building. Y'all are upset. Yeah, I get it. You click the link. Click the link. That's all you got to do. And if you're having an issue with the link, let me know. Because a lot of y'all like to stay anonymous and y'all don't want to join. Now, let's continue. Or perhaps your IQs are too low to, speak to me face to face. Maybe that. Maybe your IQ, maybe your thick Neanderthal skulls can't comprehend what's being said. Right? Anyway, let's go.
Frankly, they were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And
he said that our young men are born to be criminals.
Explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. We took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough. And
he said it twice. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough. See, they're engaging us through criminality. We shouldn't be the face of criminality. But that's what they're making it. Why? When you got these damn transition or transgendered school shooters or mass shooters that's out here lighting everything up, lighting everybody up. Where's the National Guard for them? I ask you, where's the National Guard for them? See, coming from that background, I can assure you right now that there's not much senseless crime that happens in Washington, D.C. If you get caught up in something, you got some kind of street beef. People not just running around knocking little old ladies over the head and robbing them in DC. No, if you get caught up in something, it's because you have some type of beef with somebody. It's something to do with some drugs or money or a female or something like that. It ain't people just robbing and robbing federal agents in DC like they want you to believe. No. The fact of the matter is, the only crime that's being committed is being black and being born in a racist country. And, America's racist. You had Cracker Barrel trying to switch up and go woke. But look, let's make this clear. The racism in America is like apple pie. Like, it's there. And they lost a bunch of money, so they went right back. Because look, there's a lot of people who are racist. Y'all see them all in my chat. They hate us simply because we are black people. That's why they don't really never have a healthy argument, a healthy debate. They just want to come in here and yell out racial obscenities because that's the fiber of this country. That's the fiber of this country. Now, of course, it is what it is. We welcome them too. That's right. I see y'all, dirty MAGA. Y'all are in the building. Y'all must be, y'all must have so much black fatigue right now. I get it. Because anytime we start chipping away at that thick Neanderthal skull and make you start thinking, y'all start crashing out. Mm. But nonetheless, let's go.
Mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place, and you can walk, Katie, you can walk right down the street with, by the way, one of the biggest human beings.
Let me respond to this particular comment right here by the minion. You seem successful. You obviously made different choices than to be a criminal. Absolutely. And that's because I was given a second chance. I was given a second chance. Essentially, what Trump is doing is ruining their futures. For the slightest of offenses, these young men are going to be doing Fed time. And at least that's the cover story. We really don't know what's happening to these young men. Because, like I said, DC Federal Penitentiary is full, it's packed. I don't know what he did with 1,600 people. Only thing he said is that they took them out. I don't know what that means. Y'all hear him say they took out 1,600 people. What does that mean? The military don't have the authority to detain anyone. The police records don't say that they arrested 1,600 people. See, I do my research. I don't believe anything I'm told on the media. Nowhere in the police records show 1,600 people being arrested. It's not there. So who detained them and where did they go? That's what all of America should be worried about. Just like, where are the homeless people going? Because when I hear somebody say take somebody out, what is the first thing that comes to mind when somebody says, hey, yo, take them out? What's the first thing that come to mind? Come on, talk to me. But let's go.
I've ever seen, which is her husband. He was a football player for like 11 years in the NFL. He's a big person. But big doesn't mean anything when they have guns and when they have knives and everything else that they have, right? But you can walk right down the street, even by yourself, and you're totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a great thing. Yes, ma'am, please.
Hey, to the sister that says IQ has nothing to do with race, let me make this clear. That's an argument that they like to say about us. So I just reversed that. They like to say we have low IQs. So that's why I said that, right? Anyway, let's continue.
Leaders across the country to work with you on crime. Do you see your efforts here in DC, including, for example, working with Mayor Bowser here as a model for bringing more bipartisanship in matters not only with crime, but also issues that matter to everyday American people's lives?
So Mayor Bowser's been great. She could have taken the thing, oh, well, and then after I clean it up, they'll take credit for it. You know what they do is they take credit. Like, we cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there. And it was overwhelming what was going on. And again, the police chief made a statement that we could not have done, there's no way they could handle it. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold. If we didn't do that, would have been a very sad day. And you know, remember, we have the Olympics, we have the World Cup, we have all these things coming, and we have 250, all of these things coming. But I watched Newsom get up and say he's doing a great, he's not, we're the ones that did it, and that's okay, whatever it takes. But the main thing is but he got up and said, we did it. Well, he didn't want us there.
Is it me or Trump don't look too well? I don't know. It's around the eyes. He's not looking too well. He's looking a little bit fatigued, look a little out of it. I don't know. Y'all tell me, MAGA. Is Trump gonna be okay? Talk to me, MAGA. I know y'all don't want y'all Lord and Savior Donald Trump to collapse, but it ain't looking too good. Them bags under his eyes, then they done doubled in size. I mean, yeah, them some big bags right there. You know, I know everybody age, everybody get older, but that look like sickness to me.
And he's going to need us again because it's starting to form again. I see it. It's starting to form again. You know, we have to maintain. It's like maintenance on an airplane. You can buy it, but you have to maintain it. And if you don't maintain it, a good plane becomes very unsafe very quickly. So it's an honor to do it. It's a lot of presidents wouldn't do what I'm doing. I don't need this heat, but when I watched television last night and I'm watching the news and I see that 9 people were killed in Chicago and 54 were badly wounded with bullets, I say, that's not this country. We have to do something. And I do say this, I say this very much. I'm not speaking to anybody but them right now. I would love to receive calls from governors and mayors saying they need help. We'll help them. We have a lot of people. We have a great force. We have a great military force. You know,
A great military force. Why does it sound like he's talking about going to war with another country? He has a great military force for black people, for the black community. Does this sound right to anybody? Well, to Dirty MAGA, it sounds great, but those of the diaspora, don't this sound crazy? It sounds like he's speaking about going to war with Iran or something. We got a great military force. You're talking about your own citizens right now. It's almost like, to me, I feel like America's not really getting any respect from any other country. They tried that BS with China. China wasn't having it. They tried that BS with Russia. They wasn't having it. And they tried that BS with Iran. Iran wasn't having it. So now it's like, let's go use our forces on the United States people. That's what it seems like. Let's just go use our forces against our citizens. It's crazy, man. This man is a damn control freak, bro. And look, speaking of military personnel and presence and all of that, we got to talk about them taking over this naval yard, because that's an act of war. We're going to get there.
Pete will tell you that when I was running for office, and this was a big headline, I think, you know, probably got me a couple of votes, but you couldn't sign people in the military. Nobody wanted to join the military, the Army, Air Force, the Navy, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard. We never forget Coast Guard because they've done such a great job. Never. But nobody wanted to join any of them. We were way below what we wanted. Every single one. The closest was the Marines, whatever that is. You'll explain that to me. But the closest was the Marines. But every service was way down, way down. And then I got elected.
At Capital Group, we design our active ETFs to weather the ups and downs of the market, so they can be rooted at the core of the portfolio.
An Obama judge voted in favor of us, which I gave him a compliment yesterday, as you know. I said that took great courage. But it's a liberal court, and
So here you have it. But let's continue a little bit further, and then we're going to go.
it's going up to the Supreme Court, who I think have been incredible people. I think they've made very wise decisions. But the tariff question, because without the tariffs, this country is in serious, serious trouble. We've taken in almost $17 trillion of investment is coming in. Most of it is coming because of tariffs. And if for some reason somebody wanted to be politically correct, I actually think it's unpolitically correct. I think politically correct is to approve it. because there's nothing so popular as what's happened to our country. Our country is doing so well, but we had a liberal.
Is our country really doing so well? What y'all's pockets looking like, Dirty MAGA? Y'all doing good? Because somehow this billionaire is convincing y'all he has y'all's best interests at heart. What y'all bank accounts looking like? Talk to me. MAGA, where your money at? How's it looking for you, MAGA? Talk to me. Keep it 1,000. He said that the country's doing great, but it don't seem that way. It seemed like his billionaire buddies are doing great. That's what it seemed like. Now, we got to talk about these naval yards, man, because this takeover of the naval yard. I want to go to the news here because parishioners hold prayer at these naval stations because this is crazy stuff going on. Hold on, let me go here. Hundreds of federal agents have already begun to swarm Chicago. It is happening. It is happening.
Hundreds of federal agents could be days away from heading to a North Shore naval base. We're learning that is part of President Donald Trump's safety crackdown for Chicago. We have team coverage of the plans, including new reaction from Governor Pritzker. But we begin with our Charlie DeMar live in the newsroom. Charlie.
And Erica, the Great Lakes Naval Base confirms that the Department of Homeland Security reached out asking for operational help with an upcoming ICE mission. While details remain scarce, Governor J.B. Pritzker once again made it clear that Chicago does not have a crisis that requires federal troops.
President Donald Trump has vowed to send in troops to Chicago, just as he's done in D.C. Despite crime being down year over year, the president and his administration continue to falsely claim that Chicago has a crime and violent immigrant problem.
We're going to take the assets we have and move them.
So they saying that they have an immigrant problem. So what's happening right now is ICE is expanding their operations, and ICE is given, a base now to go on immigration crackdown. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is there any Chicagoans in the building? Talk to me. If there's any Chicagoans in the building, like, inform me right now. Do y'all have a migration problem? Is there a migration problem in Chicago? Talk to me. Or is it a problem with what they call YNs? Because we see what the media shows us, the drill rappers and all of that in Chicago. All right, I don't see too many Chicagoans in the building, but let's go.
The problem is like sanctuary cities, where we know for a fact they're releasing public safety threat, illegal aliens to the streets every day.
This spring, the Department of Justice slashed nearly $160 million in grants meant for violence prevention. $16 million was earmarked for Chicago.
He's defunding our efforts to fight.
Do y'all hear that? That's just the facts. He really did cut money for crime prevention just to send the military.
Crime, so that he can send troops into the city of Chicago for one reason. I want everybody to pay attention what the reason is. It's about the elections in 2026 and about interrupting our ability to have a fair and free election in 2026.
I had one person say, it took years to build this and it could take months to tear it down.
Rita Oseguera spoke with local violence prevention groups facing the reality of these budget cuts. She's a reporter for The Trace, a newsroom focused on gun violence.
When speaking to violence prevention leaders and organizers, what they were saying is that if President Donald Trump was serious about reducing gun violence and helping Chicago, then he would reinstate the funding that was recently cut.
The New York Times reviewed a request from the Department of Homeland Security. The report says the Trump administration plans to ramp up immigration enforcement in Chicago, calling for a 30-day operation at the Great Lakes Naval Base, including 250 people, parking for 140 vehicles, storage space for medical supplies, bathrooms and laundry, and rubber bullets and tear gas.
Now, why do they need rubber bullets and tear gas? See, the National Guard is designed for crowd control, not law enforcement. Ladies and gentlemen, what is about to happen in Chicago? What are they preparing for exactly? This is what I'm talking about, manufactured crisis. They're going in there to do what? They claiming that it's migrants. In one breath, they saying it's migrants, and the other breath, it's young black men who need to be, locked away. Martial law is coming, and because middle America is complacent with it, they're gonna find out the hard way. And everything I'm saying, y'all gonna remember everything I'm saying when this government is under a fascist rule. Oh, you're gonna remember it. My words are gonna echo in y'all's minds. Let's go.
And a spokesperson for the naval base says while they were approached about helping ICE and the Department of Homeland Security, they have not been asked to provide any assistance for the National Guard. We are live in the newsroom. Charlie DeMar.
So the police won't have nothing to do with this.
CBS News, Chicago.
And Trump want to go to heaven. Y'all keep seeing Trump talking about he's trying to make it to heaven. You ain't going to heaven, Trump. No, look what you're doing to God's people. You trying to rule in tyranny. Y'all heard Trump talking about he want to go to heaven?
If I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's a pretty... I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well.
Donald Trump.
He want to get to heaven. He think he can negotiate a deal. He think this is a bit. He think it's, getting into heaven is a business. If I could do this or do that, maybe I can get into heaven. Nah, you going to hell, man. In a handbasket. That's where you going. Because with all the power you have, being in the greatest office in the world, you can actually help the people who built your country. You can actually come with a comprehensive plan for those who built your country. And instead, you put the onus on them. Send your troops out in the streets to, quote unquote, take them out. And you think you're going to enter the kingdom of heaven? Nah, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob going to destroy you. You evil. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, the God of the Bible is going, do what he need to do with you. You ain't going to no heaven. Yeah. But anyway, y'all know how it go, man. I had to come in here and talk my talk. Of course, I got more material coming. If y'all want to sponsor the show, y'all already know how to sponsor the show. The Cash App is right there. Go ahead and scan that QR code. Support the mission. Let's get Dirty MAGA out of here. Get them mad. When y'all scan that QR code, y'all pissing Dirty MAGA off. And also, there's another way to support. Go to nubreedglobaltruth.com and go ahead and support the Hebrew heavyweight tees, t-shirts. There's a whole lot of fly gear over there. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and go over there and get yourself right, but show some support. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all can see, man, I'm always in the trenches, always, crying aloud, sparing not, going in on Dirty MAGA, even with all the negative energy, all the hate, racism, anger, animosity, all that they do in my comment section, y'all. I still go in on them daily. You know what I'm saying? I still be going in on these guys. I'm in the trenches. Look at what they doing. This is what I get. So while I'm going to war with them, if you are day one, if you are a true supporter of my stream, if you like what I'm doing, if you like my courage and my tenacity to speak up on what's right, then y'all know how to support, man. The Cash App, right? Oh, it took it away. Let me get that right. Look, you see the racism that goes on. Now, and I like to show y'all this. This is the type of people that we have to deal with, right? These are the type of people that show up in these broadcasts, but they never want to click the links. So, you know, show your support for the stream. Of course, I got more material coming, man. There's some things we're going to definitely be diving into later on. Make sure you got the post notification bell on so you can get my streams and videos as they're being uploaded. More to come. Y'all be blessed out.